So one, when we get into this, writing is a huge way to get away. There's something called an ideal scene. And so many times when we get into stress, when we get into what's happening within the body, we focus, and this is how we're designed, that if there's a problem, there's something going on, there's a part of our brain that continues to work on it. You can say this like the rat wheel, or this continuation of just like it burns and it turns and it turns and it turns. This is more the right brain thinking, more prevalent in females, but the same. But what happens is, it turns and turns, and we think about it, and we think about it, and we worry, and you can't go to bed at night, and all these things happen. From that point forward, this creates a stress response in the body and sets off these pathways, as I talked about, which can lead to even depression, can lead to all these other things, because the body is not functioning the way that it should. So the first thing to think about with this, even at the worst times, is to think about what's called an ideal scene. Ideal scene is, without any other factors or things, if this situation was perfect, what would it look like? Because as you start to describe it and think about it, that changes the worry pattern to start to find solutions. Your subconscious brain will start to try to find the solutions. So even if it feels completely unattainable the day that you're working on it, it's amazing as you continue to write this every day, it will work and blend into, and your body will actually start to make changes. You'll find opportunities and attract people into your life that are able to actually make those things happen. The other thing is to stop that rat wheel going on in your mind, or stop that cycle or that treadmill, is when you write it down, there is a very specific part that as you write it down, especially before bed, if you wake up at night worrying, what you're putting on paper, it's there. It's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to remind you tomorrow. So it stops the brain from worrying about it, because it knows tomorrow you're able to come back to it. So those things make a huge deal. Also, your why. So your why itself is why you're on this earth. Why were you created? And when you really get back to it, and if you start to try to write these types of questions out, because if so-and-so said this, or this happened, or this payment didn't happen, or something was late, or whatever it is, those little things, sometimes it's called perspective, aren't as big as we're worried about because of all the stress and things we're bombarded with, when we're starting to look at the big picture of who we want to be and what we're really designed for within our lives. So they did a study, and they found that when people worried, 40% of what they worried about were things that never going to happen. So things that never happened, 40%. Things that already happened in the past, 30% of our worries were those. Needless worries about our health were about 12%. So, you're perfectly healthy, and you're like, what if I get cancer? Or what if I die of a heart attack tomorrow? Or things that really aren't one-on-one correlations to your current health situation. Pretty miscellaneous worries, 10%. Then real legitimate worries, they put at 8%. And they studied thousands of people with this. So with that, in short, 92% of what we worry about on a daily basis is actually things that don't go along with our everyday life. So one thing we can do for this also is, when you're writing out, write out what is your ideal scene, but within that ideal scene, the things that you want to have happen. Within life, you have to put the big rocks in first. So if there's something that makes a huge difference of your quality of life, then that has to be planned for. Or if you need some time for yourself, if you need some time to restore or just read or something that gets you away, that literally has to be planned in the calendar with a thick line, and you have to put that first, or else it's never going to happen. If you don't plan for the high quality tasks or the things that bring you joy and happiness, low quality tasks are always going to fill in the space. Someone's going to call that needs something or this and that, and you have to put yourself first. So thick yellow lines. Also, for the big things that happen in your life, hey Jennifer, great to see you, thanks for watching. The things that happen in your life that are most important, that go along with your vision and your goals and what you want for your family, for your life, spiritually, things like that, those things take time. And many times they're not going to happen between shuttling kids, between work and overtime and things like that. So you have to create in the calendar what's called a thick yellow line, but many times a 3 to 3 hour chunk, once a week, once every 2 weeks, where you're working on the things that long term are going to bring you the most stability and the most joy.